Hello cinema comrades, it is I, your unelected and unqualified governor of ruining your favourite East Asian films. Now bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei!
Yes, I'm creating yet another consecutive video about the renowned Taiwanese filmmaker Hou Hsiao-Hsien. The reason behind this latest instalment is the recent heartbreaking news of his departure from both his latest film project and his entire filmmaking career, prompted by his decline in health. While I work on a more in-depth video tribute, consider this a temporary homage to his invaluable contribution to the world of cinema and his profound cultural impact. It's a sad time for cinephiles. This video is actually based on an idea brought up in the comments section of my Millennium Mambo video, and in the vein of my British colonial heritage, I'm going to politely steal it, offer no meaningful compensation, and the only way this commenter will ever see it again is by visiting my channel, where it will be forever. But seriously, thank you this person, great call, such a good idea for a video. Taiwan is a dynamic nation in East Asia. Yep, you heard me, a nation that has experienced significant social and cultural transformations over the years. The films Daughter of the Nile, directed by Hou Hsiao-Hsien and released in 1987, and Millennium Mambo, also directed by Hou Hsiao-Hsien and released in 2001, serve as cinematic mirrors reflecting the evolving facets of urban Taiwanese society. In this video, I will explore how both films vividly portray the changes in Taiwanese society during the 1980s and early 2000s retrospectively. And the films are amazing too. I love them both. And if you don't, then we've got problems, comrades. And you don't want problems with me, because I can bite and scratch really hard. So be warned. But anyway, the reason why these films are useful for a comparative analysis, and not just because they span 20 years of Taiwan's history, but they share similar themes too, be it the emotionally lost female protagonist, emphasis on the then modern pop culture, or the neon urban settings. And because they exist within incredibly different eras of Taiwan's history, it allows the films to function in a way where they clearly reveal what has changed within that time frame. One of the most obvious transformations evident in both films is the economic evolution of Taiwan. Daughter of the Nile is set against the backdrop of the 1980s, when Taiwan was in the midst of rapid industrialisation and economic growth. However, the film depicts a family struggling to make ends meet, working in low-paying jobs which reflect the income disparities and economic challenges faced by many Taiwanese families during this era. This economic hardship serves as a poignant reminder of the socio-economic inequalities that persisted despite Taiwan's economic successes of the time. In contrast, Millennium Mambo portrays a more prosperous society. By the early 2000s, Taiwan had achieved remarkable economic progress, transitioning from an industrial economy to what's called a knowledge-based economy, which essentially refers to consumption and production systems based around intellectual capital. You know, things like scientific advances and applied research. Because of this, the characters in Millennium Mambo live more comfortable lives and enjoy greater material abundance, reflecting Taiwan's ascent to a more prosperous and consumer-driven society. This actually brings me to my next comparative theme, changing youth culture. The representation of youth culture in both films underscores shifts in societal norms and values. Daughter of the Nile centres on a young woman navigating the challenges of adolescence in Taipei. The film captures the complexities of youth during the 1980s, marked by traditional family values, limited opportunities, and a sense of social responsibility. The main character is a symbol of the youth of her time, striving to balance family obligations with personal aspirations, whilst dealing with the limitations imposed on her by societal expectations. Millennium Mambo, set in the early 2000s, presents a distinctively different youth culture. The protagonist embraces a more individualistic and hedonistic lifestyle, her character represents the changing values of a new generation that seeks personal freedom, independence, and self-expression. The film highlights the influence of contemporary pop culture, nightlife, and electronic music on the lives of Taiwanese youth during this period. In addition to youth culture, both films showcase the impact of external cultural influences on Taiwanese society. In Daughter of the Nile, the protagonist is seen reading Japanese manga, particularly Crest of the Royal Family, to which the main character is referred to as Daughter of the Nile, hence the film's title. Along with some specific character correlations between the protagonist and the manga character, to which I don't have time to cover in this video, the manga connection reflects the significant influence of Japanese pop culture on Taiwan during the 1980s. Taiwan was undergoing a period of cultural exchange with Japan, leading to the popularity of Japanese manga, music, and fashion amongst Taiwanese youth. There's also the post-colonial hints too, as the film was released 42 years after the Empire of Japan ended its 50-year occupation of Taiwan. Thus, as with any form of colonialism, there will always be those relics of influence left behind. Conversely, Millennium Mambo underscores the globalised nature of Taiwanese society in the early 2000s. The film's nightclub scenes, electronic music, and cosmopolitan atmosphere symbolise Taiwan's integration into the global cultural landscape. It portrays a society that has become more interconnected and open to international influences, reflecting the changing cultural dynamics of the new millennium. One theme that can't be ignored, especially if you're a Hou Hsiao-Hsien fan, is the visual and narrative evolution. The visual and narrative styles of the two films mirror changes in filmmaking techniques and storytelling aesthetics. Daughter of the Nile, in comparison to Millennium Mambo anyway, adopts a more traditional narrative structure with a focus on character development and interpersonal relationships. The cinematography is characterised by a muted and naturalistic visual style, aligning with Hou's and many other of the Taiwanese new cinema directors' filmmaking sensibilities of the 1980s. In contrast, Millennium Mambo experiments with a fragmented and non-chronological narrative style. The film employs striking visuals with the use of neon lights and fluid cinematography, creating a dreamlike, visually immersive experience. This departure from static and more traditional storytelling techniques represents a cinematic evolution in Hou's career that you saw developing throughout the 1990s. So there we go. Daughter of the Nile and Millennium Mambo serve as compelling cinematic documents of urban Taiwan societal changes over the span of 2 decades. They capture the economic transition, evolving youth culture, shifting values, and cultural influences that shaped Taiwanese society during the 1980s and early 2000s. These films are not only masterpieces of filmmaking, but also valuable historical and cultural artifacts that provide insight into the dynamic and ever-changing nature of Taiwanese society. We bloody love you, Taiwan. But what have I missed? What other connections are there, comrades, that I've missed out? Add them in the comments or make your own video or something. I'd love to see it. I've shown you mine, so now show me yours. That's the rules. Get it out for everyone to see. Go on. Anyway, take care of yourselves and each other. Like, subscribe, and bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei!